And it was a conscious decision that I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this wrestling sport to get me out of the hood. And I'm going to use this opportunity to ride this train as long as I can. And then I found MMA. So in terms of like just black folks playing the victim, I think
not
it's
even black folks playing the victim, but that narrative being held. I don't want to accuse black people or white people or anyone this blanket statement, but that narrative is being pushed out there, and it's not just for black people. It's being pushed out there for women. They tried to give it to Asian people. It didn't stick so good. You know, there was the Asian one for a while, Stop Asian Hate or something like that. But was there an evolution for you? Did you used to be in that space? Like, fuck whitey, fuck this. I can't get ahead. The fucking whole world's out to get me. And then all of a sudden,
100%. 100%. I was the same exact way, angry at the world. Obviously, my dad, like I said about my dad, and I felt like the way things were the way things were.
And that's another thing people need to understand. The true, really greats at the top of the fucking food chain, their lives were hard.
Yeah. You just figure out a way. It's whether or not you intrinsically want change. And that's what I ultimately wanted. So I think people have to look at their situation, evaluate it. What can they change? What won't change? How can they get around it? And if things are tough, like I always tell people, like some people say like, oh, I can't do anything now because I'm too old or because I have all these kids. I'm like, yes and no to a certain extent. If you really, really want something, you're going to figure out a way to either take away this thing so that you have more time for this, whether it's online schooling to get your degree, whether that might take you 2-3 years as opposed to, or maybe even 4 years, as opposed to someone who has all the free time in the world, who lives at home, doesn't have any bills and responsibilities. They can finish that program in a year or two or something like that, an accelerated course. Those are the type of nuances we're talking about. But at the end of the day, if you want to take one credit at a time and chip away, it can be done. So it's all about perspective. Nothing is going to be easy. And that's why I think when I talk about certain things like this, it's easier to say, well, it's easier for you to say, or, well, you didn't have to deal with this. I'm like, yeah, but I had my own obstacle and I had to troubleshoot it and I had to figure out how. You have an obstacle, troubleshoot it and figure out how.